Hi, everyone. This is Christian Antoine, and we have a guest today by the name of Phil Zittle.
That's correct.
Like Skittle. Anyway, Phil and I met way back in November. Was it 2024? I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, was it? No. Yeah, it was. It was 2024 November is when I had the class. So we are excited to bring Phil. Phil and I attended the Lego Serious Play, and it's a 4-day workshop that teaches you how to build workshops to help people use Lego Serious Play. So, Phil, quick intro of yourself. Go ahead and let us know a little bit about you.
Well, I was an architect by training, and then I was obviously in the architecture industry for probably 10 plus years. 09 downturn, moved into the construction industry, focused more on Revit and visual communication, which lent its way into lean construction. Was in the operational excellence group at a contractor here locally, and then went into modular construction after that. I thought that was going to be the next big taking off portion. And from there, I'm now actually a facilitator and coach, where we do a lot of last planner system coaching. And we use Lego Serious Play in our work with teams on job sites. So I travel around the country visiting job sites, and we use a lot of the tools and techniques from Lego Serious Play, and then also Last Planner System.
And for those who don't know, what would you say is Last Planner System if they don't know what that is?
Yeah, quickly, it's getting the foreman or the people who are closest to the work to do the planning of next week's activities. So the reason why they call it Last Planner System is you want the people closest to the work to really create the plan, so the work is more reliable and you can have that communication back and forth with each other.
Gotcha. So what was the reason you decided to sign up for this Lego Serious Play workshop that we went to?
Yeah. One of the things we offer from our company, Midian, is when construction teams are forming and storming and all those fun things, it's really trying to understand each other. And Lego Serious Play gives us an opportunity to explore it with bricks and then understand each other's what I call operating systems. So what things are usually how they operate, how they show up. We use Lego bricks to help explain what that looks like.
Awesome. And I remember it was like right after the last day, you were leaving the next day to go do a workshop.
Yeah, so there's 2 people in our company already that are facilitators and trainers, and then I jumped in, and that was why I wanted to get taught, learned, trained. We'll scratch that. Well, that's why I wanted to get trained on Lego Serious Play so that I could actually facilitate and help out. So the next day, I was heading over to North Dakota, and
I remember you had the box and all this stuff in it, and you're like, I gotta go.
That's one thing they don't teach in the class.
No,
right? It was one. I think there was several questions like, how do you bring all this? If you had to bring, it's really weighing out your luggage. What materials can fit in a box? How do you carry it? And I'll tell you one thing: plastic breaks over time, and even Lego bricks break over time.
You heard it here first.
I'm not saying that Lego Serious Play makes you break the bricks.
No.
But I've seen sometimes they get emotional, right?
Really?
Lego Serious Play can bring out emotions that you aren't always prepared for.
All right. So if someone was tuning in and they're like, well, what is Lego Serious Play? How do you describe it to someone?
I explain it as it's a technique to get everybody involved in a conversation. You come in with some prompts. You kind of know the backstory. You know the situation, maybe something you're trying to resolve, but you're looking at what kind of prompts can I ask everybody to get them having a conversation amongst themselves to really explore these on a deeper level and deeper understanding of each other.
How do you come up with the prompts? Is there some standard ones, or is it you have conversations beforehand and then kind of come up with one?
Yeah, sometimes it's on the fly. I will say even some of the best workshops we have is do we need to call audible here and do a different prompt because we think that one might not be something they want to solve right now, or we're having issues resolving a different issue. Let's talk about a different prompt. I would also say getting in touch with, the project leaders and understanding what they see as issues, and that helps kind of resolve. So it gets you asking some of the right prompts. We also find that having small interviews with the participants before they actually get into the workshop helps, especially like easing their, like, have you ever played with Lego bricks before?
I was going to say, what is that? What's the process? What's the interview?
Have you ever, have you ever played with Legos before? And they're usually like, I'm in construction. Yes, I've played with Legos. Some people are like,
duh.
True. Some people are like, I prefer Lincoln Logs.
Sure. Okay.
Well, and I'm like,
old school.
Yeah. And I was like, maybe we could do something like that, but I haven't thought about it too much after that.
I think I like one of those sets when I was a kid. Everything else is Lego for me.
I just remember the green slats never really stayed on.
Yeah. If you bumped it, everything just fell apart
right.
too. It's not, we need to bring in the Kraken.
The Kraken. Yes.
Blew it.
Yes. There you go. Lego, bringing all the Legos story back into it.
Yeah, just trying.
So we have interviews and just ask them, like, do you have any concerns? What things what would you feel comfortable with? What things would make you feel more comfortable in this process? Because we definitely don't want to, rip apart a Band-Aid and bring up a wound.
So how does this help you with your clients, or what have you seen since taking the class and then having done all the workshops that you've done?
Yeah, I think the forming and storming really helps. So understanding the team dynamics, it's a great team builder. We actually use the Enneagram personality assessment, and in the Lego Series Play, we develop what we would call like a team building exercise. So we have a standard workshop that we've created prompts for, but we also have worked with different departments within project teams. If there's a conflict, we use Lego Series Play for conflicts. There was an issue with some safety people, and we basically got out the Lego bricks and let's have a conversation about it. And to your point again is, once we start building, you get everybody's involvement, right? That's a 100% participation within the meeting.
I was just heading there because that's what stuck for me is that, Robert talks about the standard meeting is, where they say 20% of the people tend to do 80% of the speaking, and the other 80% sit there and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, we all agree, right? Okay. And then they walk out afterwards, and it's the meeting after the meeting. And just hearing you talk about conflict, some people don't like conflict. So I can imagine that when you put your hands to bricks and you start to like make a metaphor of what's happening, Robert always says, point at the bricks. So I'm not looking at you, but it's like I can point at the bricks to show what's happening.
And that's one of those biggest like misnomers. Everyone wants to talk face to face, eye contact. We've all been taught that in school and in our approaches. But yeah, when we start talking about to the bricks, we're diffusing, that personal aspect of I'm now can be able to talk to it because I'm talking to an inanimate object. I'm talking about an inanimate object, about a feeling, an emotion, something that's real within me. And the more we can look at the bricks, the easier it is for people to communicate, especially those that don't feel like they can talk in meetings, right? That's that 80% that usually don't speak up because maybe they got, they're the introverts in the room, or they feel like management already doesn't listen to me, so I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
Usually the most soft-spoken ones, by the end of the time, they're really talking about it.
That's fun to see that growth happen, or at least them to get to the point where they're comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
So what if someone's like resistant, like they're just not sure about this form? How do you help them through that? You said you do the interview. Is there anything that comes to mind that you would say this is what's helped us maybe get somebody who might be a little resistant to this?
Are you like actually during the interview or during?
Well, I was going to ask it from the perspective of if somebody's resistant, but then based on you saying that you had that interview beforehand, I'm actually more curious if you learn in the interview, because you had said what would make you more comfortable. Do you have an example of someone who maybe was?
Not so much in the interviews. Everyone's kind of like, yeah, I'd love to learn more about myself and learn about the project team. But when you start getting in the workshops, then you start seeing like, oh, we got a little click over here. We got something happening here. And as facilitators, you really, to Robert's point, is like having the right size in the room is always a good thing. Have we pushed the size limits? Absolutely.
What is the right size? I was just going to say, what was it, 12?
I think he said no greater than 12.
Okay. What's the biggest one you've done? 32? I don't know.
I think it's like 18, 20.
Okay. So that's almost 1.5.
Yeah. So when you do get a larger size, then it does become, I can understand Robert's point of like 12 people is probably right, because you can get around the table, you can have those conversations, you can point to bricks. You get a larger group now.
It's hard. There might be.
Yeah, there's side conversations happening. So one thing that, like, when we find that happening is getting everybody out of their chairs and actually moving to the locations of people's builds and having the people talk to their build so they can actually not just hold it up,
right,
but you can actually hear it and be participation in the conversation.
There's something about the movement.
There's something about the movement because as soon as you get up people moving, now I'm uncomfortable already. I'm standing, I'm not sitting back, I'm not, jabbing with my friend and talking about, that red brick doesn't mean something to me, but whatever it is to them.
I've been using it ever since because we train, right? And when we go to a breakout and we're going to send people out to their breakout in Zoom or if we're in person, sufficiently unclear to go forward.
Yeah, some people don't want the prompts on the wall, prompts on the prompts on the TV, and sometimes it's like, okay, just listen and take out of it what you like.
And the other one is what can you live? What can't you live without? Like identifying one thing that this is important, but everything else I'm flexible on. That was another one. Like
you do a lot of that. So I think what you're referencing is the red brick.
The red brick. That's where my head went as soon as you said red brick. Because in the class, it's like you build a model. And they'd say, take the red brick and put that on the spot or the metaphor that you can't let go of or that you won't let go of because that has to be a part of what you are going to contribute.
Yeah, and with that red bricking is we develop these landscapes, right? So we have individual builds for just, communicating about yourself, your person, and then we make these landscapes about us, the team. And that's where that red brick comes in. It's like, this is the must-have, the non-negotiable that I need to have as I operate within this team.
And if it's not that, then they could negotiate. So it's just been nice to have that little trick in the back pocket because we don't necessarily do builds, but letting people know what they can live with or can you live with this? And they say, yeah, it tends to move you forward.
Yeah, I think one of the great takeaways from Robert was, do we all agree? And it's like, no, we never all agree on anything. So it's like, what things can we just live with? And it's like, yeah, I can live with that.
What would you say is your, and there's probably many, maybe I shouldn't put those words in your mouth, but what would say is the first or biggest aha that comes to mind about this method and what it's done for you with your clients?
I think even between not just internal team members, it starts to break down barriers like cross company lines. I think one of the biggest ahas was a client, an actual owner client, and an actual owner client, and then the construction company, and just understanding how quickly, like, there was only two types of personalities on the construction side, and then there was 8 different personalities on the owner side. And it showed this gap. Like we were always talking past each other. And using the Lego Serious Play and the Enneagram helped explain some of the gaps that they were having between the teams. Mm-hmm. And they always felt like we weren't clear on decisions. We weren't getting information timely, but we didn't understand where other people are coming from. And it was through those Lego builds that help them understand each other's dynamics and how they operate.
Would you, if you were to I know there's a lot of challenges in construction, but what would you say is the most predominant challenge when it comes? Is it communication or is it something else?
It feels like communication is like the top thing. And then when you peel that onion a little further, it goes like to the people, right? I don't like how someone said that, or there's too many emails, and there's a lot of technology being thrown in construction. So there's a system for that. You didn't get that answer. It's in that system. Go and find it. And whatever happened to the phone. So I would also say there's like the generational gap keeps coming up as well within construction. It's an aging demographic.
You hear a lot about it.
Construction. So you're getting younger people into the trades now. And there's always like, well, what motivates them? Lego Serious Play would be a great example of what motivates people within construction.
I'm going to ask you about your greatest pivot, because you had talked a little earlier about you can go in with a prompt, but some of the best ones have been where you just kind of on the fly. What one comes to mind, and what did you start with, and then what did you pivot to?
Ooh, I don't know what we started with.
That's okay. Okay. What's the pivot then?
The pivot was the company already had this their values already stated what they were, and it was like, are we going to have to pivot away from what their values are stated in this document to what is the team's values that they have here, and then how does that align with actually the company's values? So
Got
the
it.
pivot was really more of like how this particular project was operating in a silo, and they didn't really like how maybe the mothership came in once in a while, and they were looking at it from the mothership also didn't think they didn't let them in, so it was back and forth. So it was like, as people get onto the team, how do you let people in?
Mm-hmm.
So the prompt that we started asking is like, hey, what is your commitment that you're going to make to let people in? Because their story that the landscape that they created is like, this project team is its own entity, but we also need some help. But how do we let people in when we don't let people in?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Got to feel good about yourself going home that day.
I don't know. It's sometimes you leave and you're like, okay, how much is going to stick? But I think by the time we had left the town, we heard enough like trade conversations of, oh, you guys were playing with Legos. I heard one real well, things like that. So,
well, on the flip side, has there been a time that you've received negative feedback about this process, and if so, how did you handle it?
I think the negative feedback comes in like not understanding. It's usually like, oh, you're going to play with Legos. You know?
And that's how they sound, by the way, folks. Yes.
And it's usually an eye roll or something like a
Yeah.
joke, but it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think you need to actually experience before you can rip it. You've had grown people break down and really explain why they do what they do, and some of them are really passionate, and it helps the teams understand why they do what they do.
And that gets back to like, what Robert said. I can't really tell you what this is about. I can only have you experience it.
Right.
So which makes it very hard to get people to sign up or want to do one of these, because like, well, what would it be for? And it's like, well, we would talk to you to see what you're hoping to maybe achieve or improve or talk about, and build one around that. But what do? Well, you have to experience it.
Yeah, and sometimes they think like psychoanalyzing. You're psychoanalyzing me, right?
Get out of my mind.
Right. Like, tell me what that red brick means, the clear one on top. And you're like, stop trying to read into it, Phil. And, I get the occasional Dr. Phil joke. It kind of rhymes. It goes with it. Right?
It does. I can see that.
I don't think we have much in similarity after that.
You got more hair.
True. But, it's one of those things. It's like, you have to take the good and you have to experience it. But you have to also be respectful of other people's builds. You don't try to rip it down. You don't try to tear it down. That's the other thing I really learned from Robert is if you get people out of flow, it's really hard to get them back into the conversation and want to participate. I felt like he was picking on me most days, but.
Well, we have some. So this is a good segue, because as I'm going through the workshop and we were kind of doing like, okay, he would pull us aside and be like, here's why we do this, and then we go do it. And then we come back and debrief. So we're doing this. It was like a 4-day workshop. And I think it was on day 2 or 3 we got to the duck.
By the way, one of those days was like a 14-hour day.
Yes, it was.
It
was. So we did the duck exercise. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And he said, build a duck and build as many as you can. And then I don't know when it was later in that day, but it was just kind of, I didn't know that he was watching us that closely. But he is. And he's like, after the duck, I saw you build better. I saw you build more freely, because up until then I played a lot with Legos. So I felt it was really important to be precise. And then I started to just let go and realize there's many different ways to build something. You don't need the perfect piece.
Right.
So let's build a duck. Let's see what you come up with.
Any prompts, or just build a duck?
Build a duck.
All right, we're going to build a duck.
And then we can show everybody on camera what we came up with. I'm trying to remember what I did. I think it went that way.
Now you're trying to memorize from.
Well, I'm just trying to go, right? I should just be going,
yeah.
But drink my own. Let's see here. Let's get this up here. I'll do this. I don't know what this is. I forget what that one did.
So sometimes, like, just building with your hands, right, it brings out like the mood that you're showing up in, and obviously it feels like a Friday.
It does feel like a Friday.
So Christian's already, just going mad at it. This piece isn't quite right, but I'm having fun. So it's a Friday.
There we go.
There it is.
All right, ready? Here's my duck.
Here's my duck. Okay. So
yeah, I just, I was really struggling with this piece, and what does that one do? So I just kind of, compacted it. I didn't want it all out, I guess.
So you're just feeling very compact today?
I just wanted to.
Space
could be the studio. I don't know, but that's what I did.
Okay, I can see it. And I think part of the conversation around the ducks is like every duck is unique, right? And it's like people, we're all different. So here's my duck. It's very tall, weirdly shaped a little bit. Don't know if he's going forward. Don't know if he's sitting up, but very alert and attentive. Kind of just checking things out today. So. One of the things is I've been curious about podcasts, and I'm here checking things out. So it's like really long neck, checking things out today.
Maybe I'm just trying to say compact to give you the space to check things out. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Maybe.
The cool thing is that when we did this exercise, there's like so many just with 6 pieces.
Yeah.
And then some people got 20 different versions in the time frame that he gave us. It was eye-opening to just see how much you can do.
I think I threw Robert for a loop that day as well. It's like, hey, do I need to use all the pieces?
Oh.
And he like stopped in his tracks. And
you want to do it with less?
And he's like, why? Right? It's just like, I gave you 6 pieces. Why? And it's like,
for those who don't know, he's Danish.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Why?
Why?
I thought the prompt was very simple.
I thought I was sufficiently clear on that prompt.
Sufficiently unclear.
Anything else you'd like to share about what you've been doing? Actually, no. Let's talk about what you're doing. You're traveling, but you have a workshop coming up in October, correct?
We do. October 7th and 8th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. It is for the last planner system, but we actually incorporate a lot about how we communicate with each other. It's like, do we make commitments to each other? So a lot of conversations happen, and we either complain about it, we make assessments, but we never have a conversation about what we really wanted the desired outcome to be. So we talked a lot about a conversation like, are you making an offer here? Are you making a negotiation? What kind of negotiation are you having with the person? Or are you just telling them what you want them to do? So there's demands, but then there's also like requests. Hey, would you like to come in today to do a podcast recording?
Who would ever ask that?
Who would ever ask that? But then we had to negotiate. We had to have a conversation like, what time? I'm traveling. Sure. Does this day work for you guys? So there's a lot of negotiation happening. If I just said, sure, I'm pretty sure you would probably be like, I don't think Phil's coming. So we want to really understand like what's all behind there. So
yeah.
There's moods that happen in the center of our conversations. Those are like things that are happening in the background. So as we are having those conversations, if you caught me on a good day, a bad day, conversations flow a little better. And also negotiations change. So we have to understand what's happening in the background whenever we're having those conversations.
So who can come to this? Is it open to anyone, or is it kind of geared towards just people or like last planner system or construction, or could anybody?
Yeah, it's geared more for construction, but it really talks about getting the right flow. It talks about right-sizing work, talks about making commitments, but it's really about developing reliable workflow and developing work plans together as a team.
And is it, I forget the time it starts, is it 8 or 9 in the morning?
Ooh, I think it's 8 o'clock, goes till 5.
Okay.
So
both days.
And then we have a small breakfast in the morning, just some pastries, some coffee, and then lunch is provided.
Okay. So then we know you get lunch and breakfast. Yeah, that's cool. And for those who may be interested, we're having Robert come back. So he's going to come back, and it's March. Got to make sure I get my dates right here. 13th through the 16th. 2026. So that is a 4-day class, and he'll be here. It'll be at the Collaborative Leadership Team, or where our office is, West End Conference Center. So if you're interested, you can go to info@coleadteam.com, or visit coleadteam.com. And if you want a custom workshop, we do those as well. So let us know. But thanks for your time, Phil. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.